Hi guys, in this tutorial I want to reuse my previously created fork to create a spoon. So first I open this fork and I want my spoon to look like it's from the same cutlery set. So I want to keep this shape of this handle, but right now there's one problem that I have to fix. So if I edit this shape somehow, and if I go back to object mode, you can see that the handle doesn't stay in place. It moves along this curve because the curve starts here instead of here, and I need to fix it. So I'll undo this. Oh, and how do I know that it starts here? Well, if I select this curve, press tab, you can see the direction of the curve indicated by these arrows. So now if I select any of these points and click switch direction, you can see that now it starts here, and geometry, deformed geometry, starts from here as well. And of course it's not what I want, but I will fix it. So first let me undo this, Ctrl Z, and first thing I need to do is in object mode select the curve, go up here and change this rotation from 270, which is the same as -90. We need to change it to +90 or just 90. Now we still have a few things to fix. So here, with this curve selected, I press tab, and now I want to flip this curve over my pivot point, and so I have to change pivot point to bounding box center, and to flip the curve I press S and Y to scale only in the Y axis, and now I have to type -1, and the last thing to do is just change the direction of the curve. So with the point selected, or any point selected, I can click here to switch direction, or I can press W and choose switch direction here, and that's it. Now it's fixed. So if I edit the shape, then the handle is going to stay in place. It's not going to change, so that's what I wanted. So now I'm going to save this fork, and I'm going to save it as spoon. Rename it, And now I'm ready to change the shape. So first I want to download the spoon reference image. So I look for it, spoon reference. I pick this one, right click, save it as, okay, and now I can load it into Blender. I go to background images, and here click on this one, choose my reference, and now in top view I need to rotate it to 0, back to 0, and scale it down something like 7.2, and move it to the center with shift. Okay, move it a little bit down. Alright, and now in the right view I click here, choose Fig 1 Spoon Ref JPEG, and I press 3 on numpad, and here I need to rotate it 90 degrees and scale it down to 7.2, so it will match the top view. Now I need to move it a little bit back like this. Okay, so now I go into edit mode, and I want to delete all these faces. Up to this point I press X and delete faces, and now I want to create this part. It's called bow. So I go to edit, from edit mode I go to object mode, and now I want to place this 3D cursor in the center. Shift C, hit Shift A to add a mesh UV sphere. Now select segments 12, rings 8, and I move it here. Now I want to rotate around X, so I press R to rotate X, and type 90 or minus 90, and now I go into edit mode, press tab, press 3 to go to side view, and A to unselect everything, B to select like this the top part, press X to delete faces, and go to top view, press B and X again, and now I can add mirror modifier. and I want to scale it down in the Z. I have to select all these faces, press S and Z to make it flat like this, and now I can press G to move it like so. And now I want to move this tip a little bit to the right, but I want to use this proportional editing, so I can enable it here, or I can just press O. Now if I select these faces, press G to move and Y to move only in the Y axis, now you can see this white circle, and I can change the size of this circle using scroll button. So I can increase it or decrease it like so. Okay, and now I'm going to switch to wireframe mode by pressing Z, and I'm going to change pivot point to active element. So now I'll go to vertex select mode, and I'm going to select these points, and I want the pivot point to be somewhere on this line. So if I scale it, this point won't move, this edge will remain straight. So I can shift right click on this point, and now it's my pivot point, pivot center. So if I scale in Z, it remains on the same level. Now I'll change the size of this influence circle, okay, like so, right. Now I'm going to unselect A and turn off the proportional editing mode by pressing O, and now I'm going to select these points and move them up, and move up these points too manually. Okay, and now in the top view I'm going to change my pivot point to 3D cursor, and I press Shift C to make sure that it's in the center. I press 7, and here in the top view I select everything, press A and press S to scale and X to scale only in the X axis. So now this is my pivot point, and now I unselect, press B, select this, scale in X, A to unselect, B to select this edge, S to scale, X to scale in X. Right, and maybe here too, scale in X like this. Okay, now I press Z, I don't want this to end like this with so many triangles. Instead, I will just delete it, and I'm going to select the edge here, and I want to make sure that the clipping is on in this mirror modifier here. So if I extrude it in X, it will clip like this. And now I want to fill this gap, so I can select these vertices holding shift 1, 2, 3, 4 and press F, and now it's filled. So now I will move these guys, and I have to change from 3D cursor to medium point. I'll move like this and like this, right? And I don't need this vertex neither. I press X, delete vertices. Okay, now I want to add thickness to it. Now instead of using solidify, I will simply switch to faces and switch my pivot point to individual origins, and press A to select everything and E to extrude. Right, like this. A to unselect. So now I can turn on I can add subdivision surface modifier and go back to object mode and click smooth, right? And I don't need these faces here, so I will select them and delete them. Now I want to connect these parts, but they are different meshes right now, so I need to select one and then holding shift right click and select the other in object mode and press Ctrl J to connect them. And now you can see that it looks crazy because I need to edit, and now I need to move it down. So I press L to select this part of the mesh, and I move it down here and to the right. Okay, I go to right view, move it down like so. Okay, now I want to connect these two parts, and the easiest way to do this is by using a bridge tool. And first we need to turn it on in user preferences, add-ons. If you type loop tools, here you can see mesh loop tools, it's off. Now we turn it on and it appears here, loop tools, and we are going to use bridge tool. But first we need to make sure that we have the same number of edges here and here, and first we need to get rid of these two edges, so I select them holding shift and right click and press X and dissolve edges, right? And here I need to add edge, so I press Ctrl R and left click and right click, right? So now I can select these edges, okay, and Alt Shift right click to select these edges, and I can click on bridge. Alright, now press A to unselect, and now I can adjust the shape a little bit. So I will go to vertex mode, I will move this point down a little bit, and this edge is rotated here. This point, maybe it should be like this. I'm going to scale this up, maybe rotate it. Alright. Let's see. Alright, so now if I go out of the edit mode, press tab, now you can see that it deformed using this curve, and I need to change the shape of this curve at the end of it. So I press tab, select this point, move it down like so, and maybe use active element and right click here and press R to rotate and do something like this. Alright, with these points selected, I will move them up. Okay. Alright, press A and tab, press 5, go into perspective. I still think it's too deep. There's something wrong with this. I need to add it. So I press tab to add it. I press 5, and I press B to select these points, and I'm going to select this point. See, it's active element is my pivot point. So if I scale in Z, it should be fine. I'll go back to edit mode. Right, does it look like spoon? I hope so. Okay, let's see our references. I go to top view, right, it could be a little bit longer and a little bit wider here. So I go to edit mode again, press B, select, just move it like this. Okay, A to unselect and B to select this, and just move them up a bit and go back. I don't like this shape. B, G to move, Z to move only in the Z axis. And just check it if it's okay. Does it reflect the light correctly? I think this should be more flat. these points a little bit to the back. These points too, and these points too. No, this looks a little bit better. I hope. Okay. And in no, I don't like that. That's not what I want. This is weird. I don't want that. It can be thicker here. Right. Okay. Okay, so now I'm satisfied with the shape, so I'm going to save it, and thanks for watching.